Mellow greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and a funny thing happened to me. I bought a house. First time home buyer, actually. I've never owned a home before. I'm a member of Generation X, so I've been in the workforce for decades. I'm college educated, but I never had a career position using my education where, I made a lot of money. So I'm pretty much like the largest pile of Americans, the widest swath of the American population, in so much that I'm a member of the working class, but I have never really been able to sock enough money away to try to purchase a house and then build equity or capital. So as I'm sitting there filling out the paperwork in the lawyer's office and I'm signing this stack of documents that's, taller than my head, I have to ask myself, have I become a capitalist? Am I a member of the capitalist class now because I have, quote, purchased a house? And as somebody who has spent a lot of time railing against capitalism, kind of concerning, I don't want to be a hypocrite. We already have a hypocrite in the White House and hundreds of hypocrites in in Congress. I really don't need to voluntarily add to the pile of hypocrisy that drives America today. So I wanted to take a quick look at what purchasing a home nowadays means. Am I actually a member of the capitalist class? And maybe ask for a little feedback from the audience. So let's go to the base root derivation. What exactly is a capitalist? Capitalist, a person who has capital, especially invested in business. Capital is essentially money or equity you have that can be borrowed against so that you can invest it. Essentially, it's when your money has a job. You have enough money that your money can just go out and make money by existing. That's what essentially capital is. So we'll go one deeper. Definition of the word capitalism: an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by investments that are determined by private decision, and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. So I guess, to the more specific point, do I now own capital? Do I own a capital good? Do I own private property? House and a residential parcel of land is private property. It's property that is owned in conjunction with the state because, again, you can't own a piece of a country. So I have definitely entered into an agreement with the government to purchase a home. I've also entered an agreement with a bank. So here are some numbers. So average mortgage payment is $1,275 a month on a 30-year fixed, $1,751 on a 15. However, a more accurate measure of what the typical American spends on their mortgage each month would be a median, which is just over $1,500 a month back in 2018. And this is a rough graph showing approximately how much mortgage loan debt there is in the country by year and by total amount. So as you can see, for the last 4 or 5 years, the amount of mortgage loan debt, which is coinciding with the upward swing of all debt in America, has continuously been on the rise. As of the beginning of last year, there was almost $10 trillion in mortgage debt in America. $10 trillion, which means all that real estate is owned by banks. That's $10 trillion worth of national equity spread amongst tens of millions of people who have mortgages. Mortgage debt far exceeds credit card debt and student loan debt. And in case you hadn't heard, about a third of all homeowners right now are facing potential eviction in January when the CDC's moratorium on evictions expires. Tens of millions of people who don't have jobs who can't make their mortgage payment. And they owe a collective $9.5 trillion. By the way, I'm now in that $9.5 trillion pile. Now, your mortgage rates. Mortgage rates since the crash in '08 have fluctuated roughly between 4% and 9%, is the interest you'll pay. Of course, it's like compounded and all this stuff. Mortgage rates right now are technically below 3%, depending how much you have to put down. But it's a historic low. And if you've never bought a house and you're thinking to yourself, wow, 3%, that's amazing. Let me tell you, not so amazing. So looking at the numbers and what the average mortgage is in America, basically if you finance $250,000, 250 grand, meaning you actually have the credit rating and the job history and the credit to debt ratio that's clean enough that you can qualify for a mortgage right now, and you have enough money to put down, roughly $250,000 over 30 years will cost you north of 400,000 over the life of the mortgage, between like, let's say 400 and 450 grand for a $250,000 house is how much you end up paying. So the bank like is getting, I don't know, 40%, 50% return on the mortgage. And if you default on the mortgage, well, they already have your down payment and now they have the house. So basically, people like myself, first-time home buyers and people at the margin who are buying homes, essentially, we're like the bumper buffer zone for banks now. Where if the market crashes, and it's going to, let me tell you, and then we can't pay our mortgage, well, then the bank really isn't taking a loss. The bank's still taking a gain. Now, granted, they're stuck with a property that's probably going to decrease in value, but they still had property in your money. You, however, you in this thing being me, will now become homeless. This is the state of real estate in America. So I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. I personally, I don't think I'm a capitalist, and I'm definitely not a landlord, aka lord of the land. I know, that's the first thing people do when you hear somebody went out and bought a house. Oh, they're buying it for an investment property so they can be lord of the land. Look, I am a member of the landed gentry. I can now allow peasants to reside upon my property and pay me a tithe, which basically means you have tenants that are paying your mortgage for you. I most assuredly do not have tenants. This is the one house we have. We're pretty much going to die in this house. I don't see ever being able to do this again. The rates will never be this low. So I don't know. You tell me what you think, because I'm still on the fence. Of course, I would like to think that I am not a capitalist and I've not become a shitty member of the capitalist class, nor am I even the landed gentry, because I currently own about 3% of the equity of this property, and I will more than likely be dead before the 30-year mortgage is paid off. But go ahead, you tell me.